Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is the Face Stage. So in today's video I'm going to be teaching you how to sew this corset top with a curve at the side. I posted video earlier on how to draft it. Kindly stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe. So I went ahead to cut out my fabric with the pattern paper I drafted earlier in my previous tutorial. So this is how it looks like. The center front, I cut it on fold. I did not slash it open. I cut for the landing, and I also cut for the main fabric. I also did the same at the back part. I cut out the main fabric and for the landing. So this is my cup parts. I cut out two pieces for the landing and for the main fabric. So this is the breast part I'll be using for this tutorial. This is how it looks like. This is what I usually use for my corset dress, and it sits so fine. And this is my bias I'll be using. So the next part is to just draft out the lines for the bias. So I'll just use my ruler. I'll start from the midpoint of this front part of this dress. So I'm going to mark a straight line, that's for the middle part. I don't know if you can see it very well, but what I'm trying to do there, I'm trying to mark out lines to give me that bias design at the front. So I've marked the front. I went ahead to mark the side. I'm just making sure that it's equal. So this is what I'm doing. I'll just go ahead and mark it. So watch carefully how I'm marking my lines. This line depending on how you want the design to come out. But if you want to make the line exactly like the one in the picture or mine, you're going to mark your lines like this. So you first of all mark the center, you go to the middle of the cup side, mark the middle, then you go to the other side and mark the middle, then you just come in between those middle and do a slash. Then after that, you just put your bias, you place your bias on top, you pin it before taking it into your machine to sew. So I'm just going to cut out my bias and place it on top the lines I mark. I'll just place it on the lines so it will be more easier when I get to my machine to sew it. So this is what I'm doing. Basically I'm just trying to make my bias line. So I'll do the same process at the back, but the back I'm going to be putting two bias because I'm going to be using eyelets for mine. So from the center back I came in by 1 inch, or half inch. You can come in by 1 inch, it's fine, so it will be safe. After coming in by 1 inch, I gave 1 inch gap again to put the second bias. So that's what I did. I'll just pin it. Then after doing it, I'll repeat it at the other side too. I'll repeat it at the other side of the back. Then after pinning it, I'm just going to take it to the machine and sew round. So I'm also going to take the cup part. I'm also going to take the cup part, that's the smaller part and the bigger part. So I'm going to find the right facing. You know, this cup we have the smaller size and the bigger part. So I'm going to take one part of the smaller part. I'll face it together, then I'll just pin it round. I'm going to take the matching part of the cup, so I'm just going to pin it round too. So I'll do the same process for the cup, then I'll do the same process for the landing. Then I'll take the cup, my breast part also, I'll take it to the machine and sew round too. Just going to take the part, all this part, to sew it round, then I'll show you what it looks like. I'm going to do the same process with my breast part. I'm just going to take the right facing, the big and small. I'm sewing with just half an inch. I don't have a zigzag machine. I'm just going to sew it like that. So after sewing it, this is what it looks like. You can see the cup. This is how the cup looks like. Look at the inside. And this is my fabric. After sewing the fabric, I went ahead to iron it. I used my breast board to iron it. So that's all for that part. So the next process is to mark how my bias is going to divide my corset cup into three parts. We're making a three-part effect at the front of our cup. So I'm just going to place it on my breastboard just to help me get the right point. So this is what I'm going to do. At the center of this um cup, I'm going to mark 2 inches. I'm going to go ahead at the other side. I'm going to mark 2 inches. So I'm going to mark 2 inches round. I'm going to do the same process body at the other side of the cup too. I'm going to mark 2 inches from the beginning of the cup to the end of the cup. I'll just mark it round. So this is how it looks like. Then I'll do the same process for this other cup. So after marking it, I'm going to bring my bias to cut out to create the three parts. So first I'm going to start the with the down parts. So this is what I'm going to do. Watch closely. So I'm just going to pin it at where my 2 inches end, not from the beginning, at where the 2 inches I marked earlier end. So I'm just going to hold it and check it if it will go round. So if I when I got what I want, so I'll just cut out, then I'll leave a little bit excess in case I take it to the machine and it's not enough. So that's it for the first part. Then I'll cut out another bias to use and cross it. So guys, this is what you are going to do. After placing it like this, when you get to your machine, you are going to first of all sew the the first part of this bias. I'll show you when I get to the machine. I'll show you what I'm trying to say. But this is how it looks like when you sew it. You're going to sew this first part that you see my finger pointing. So let's go to the machine. So this is how to sew it. You first of all place this part first at where your 2 inches end. Then you sew it first. So this you just arrange it very well using your hand to curve it well, and you make sure it's in the middle of this your cup. It's covering your seam allowance. You make sure that it's covering your seam allowance. So that's it. I'm done sewing the other side of the bias. I'll go ahead and turn, then I'll sew the other side. So after sewing this down part, next part is to bring the upper part to overlap it with it. So this is what I'm going to do. So this other part is going to start at where I mark my 2 inches. You can see the chalk. I'm just trying to cross check it if it's 2 inches I have there. So I'll just place it on top. This is it. Then I will sew. When I'm sewing, I'll just try to arrange it well and make sure it's on that 2 inches I marked earlier. You can see now it's going to overlap the first part. That's to give it a good finishing. So this is how it's going to look like. Then after sewing this part of the bias, you repeat the same process, and that's all for sewing of this cup. This is the easiest way to sew it. You just need to sew the down part first, then you lap it with the other part. After this, I went ahead to run my bias on the main fabric too, and this is what I have. Look at the main fabric and look at the cup. So the next part is to use my cup to place my cup on the main fabric. I'll just spin it round. I'm just trying to pin it round. And when you are pinning this cup, the smaller parts of your cup, this cup have two sets. The smaller cup part of your cup is going to face the center front. The smaller cup is always going to face the center front, while the bigger part will face the other side. So I went ahead to just stitch it round, and this is what I have. I did the same process for the landing too, and this is what I have. This is how it's looking. Look at the inside, look at the outside. So I'll go ahead and trim out the excess. You, in case you have excess, you can trim it out. If you don't have excess, just leave it like that. So I'll go ahead and just trim my excess, and this is what I have. So now the next step is to glue my cup, my breast pad to my cup. I'm going to glue it with my hemming gum. I'm still trying to cut out the excess. So I'm going to use my cup. I'll place it the right side, facing the right side where it's supposed to face. So this is how it looks like. So I'm just going to pin it. After pinning it, I'll take it to my breast ball. Then I'll try to put hemming gum under, just to help it gum. So I'm just trying to put hemming gum under just to help it gum. Then I will iron it. I'm placing it on my breast ball. So this is how it's going to look like. I'm just going to insert the hemming gum round and make sure that it's very round. Make sure that it's inside. There is nowhere left that is no ironed. So I'm just going to do it both on the other side of the cup too. After ironing my cup, this is what I will have. You can see how it looks like inside. So the next part is to place my back side to my front side together. I'll go ahead and sew it with 1.5 inch. I'll repeat the same process to the landing. So after sewing it, this is what I have, and this is how my dress is looking. We are one way half done. So this is how it's looking. So the next part is to just take my landing and the main fabric. I'm going to sew the upper part round, then I'll sew the side first, then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. So this is what it looks like after sewing it round. I went ahead to double stitch it after sewing it, then I put hemming gum inside. So this is how it looks like, and you can see I left the down part open because we have not passed our boning. So for the boning casing, I'm going to cut out my boning, but I will not cut it exactly the length of the bias. I'm going to be cutting it, then I'll leave like 1 inch. I'll minus 1 inch from the length. So I'll just cut out my boning, but I'll minus 1 inch from the length of my bias. This will enable it if I'm turning the top. So whenever you're cutting your boning, you always cut out 1 inch away from your bias or your casing that you use and turn it. So I'm just going to insert the bias round. I'm just going to insert it round. After that, I'll take it to my table, then I'll give it a very good press so the plastic boning can be flattened, so it will be very flat. So I'll just iron it very well. Make sure you put something on top so you won't burn your dress. That's why I'm using this black material. I always use it to iron in case if the iron wants to burn. If the iron wants to burn my dress, you should burn the facing, the material first. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So I'll just give it a very good press. So I'll just give it a very good press, like a very good press, so the boning will relax very well. So this is what it looks like. You can see that everywhere it's already relaxing. So this is how it looks like. So this is how it looks like. So the next part is to flip it over. It's to flip it over like this, then I'll sew round. Then when sewing round, I forgot to leave one part open. That's for the back side. I forgot to leave it open. I had to sew everything, then I went ahead to start losing it. So this is me after I finished sewing it. I went ahead to lose the side of the back. This is the side. So I went ahead to lose the center front, I mean where the boning is, like the center back where the boning is, why it creates my two parts boning. So it's not really easy turning out this outfit because there's a lot of bone. It's very difficult, but you just have to calm down to turn it very well. I was struggling with it, but I just have to calm down to turn it well. So this is what it looks like. I'm almost done turning it. It's not easy though because the boning and everything, because you just have one small part to turn it from. So this is how it looks like. You can see the side I open. That's how it looks like. So that part, I'm going to use my hemming gum to gum it together, to cover it, I mean. Then I'm going to press this top round. So I'm just going to give it a good press round. Just adjust the side everywhere you iron it so it can come out very fine and neat. So these center back, like I said earlier, I'm going to put my hemming gum inside to cover it. Yes, so I don't want any stitching, like I don't want them to see any stitching on this top. So I'm just going to use my gum to iron it, then I'll flip it over to the landing parts to iron. You can see this dress is already coming out. It's giving everywhere, so needs inseam finishing. It's so fine. So this is what it looks like. So the next part is to cut out my sleeve. I went ahead and cut out 45 inches in width and 13 inches in length. I'll go ahead and fold the upper part and the down part. Then I'll put my elastic of 9 inches at the down part and at the upper part. Then I'll insert my hand. Then I'll put my eyelet and create my rope for my dress, and that's all. I'll come back and show you what I did. So this is how the blouse is looking. This is the puff hand. I went ahead to attach it to the side part of the blouse, that's the seam allowance side, and I did the same to the hand too. So I just put the both seam allowance at both side, and this is how the back look like. Look at the shape I wanted at the back. It's an eyelet back. I have a tutorial on how to put this eyelet. If you're interested, go watch the video. You can see how fine and neat it's looking. I went ahead to sew elastic bias. That's what I'll be using for my rope at the back. So this is what it looks like. Thank you for watching this far. Please kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. Drop your review, your comments. See you in my next class. Bye.